Yes, and Jelani Asar here with Income Protection Atlanta. First things first, go to incomeprotectionatlanta.com. Right now, just open up a new tab or a new browser in Firefox or whatever your browser may be. Go to incomeprotectionatlanta.com and join our email list so you can receive your free report entitled Protect My Income in Atlanta, only for you if you desire more financial security in this volatile and chaotic economy. And now let's get to our interview with another mesmerizing Atlanta business owner.
And a little bit into your history and how you got to be so nuts. Let's see, you have experience as an employee benefits consultant?
That's correct. I've been in the benefits world for 26 years, actually. The first 15 years of my career were spent on the carrier side, predominantly in healthcare.
Okay.
Started with the Travelers back when, the Travelers did medical insurance, and they brought me to Hartford, Connecticut for 6 months and actually put me in a group school, as they called it, and taught me everything from, short-term disability to a 2 times retro-rated minimum premium medical renewal, and sent me back to Baltimore and turned me loose. So went from there to national TPA by the name of CoreSource, and then went to a local Blue Cross and Blue Shield-owned TPA, NCAS, and then 11 years ago moved to the consulting side. And I predominantly worked with groups of 1,000 or more employees, but most of my groups had 2,500, 5,000, 10,000 employees.
I see.
And then
Wow.
in April of this year, left that employer, Kelly and Associates Insurance Group, to start Capella Tax Network, and I had a great deal of support from my former employer. They were aware of my efforts to raise capital to launch the business, and I have been a very supportive distribution partner as well. So. Just couldn't be happier with the transition out and with the way the business has grown.
That's great that you're happy with the transition, because I imagine that for some people, making that transition from the employed and consultant lifestyle into starting your own business can be pretty rocky.
Well, the sleepless nights are many, but and the highs and lows are double the height and double the depth, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's been an absolutely fantastic experience, and the fact that the product has been so well received by not only the brokerage community who is selling it, but the employer community who's offering it, and obviously the most important part is the employee part who are purchasing it. So
right,
we're just really off to a terrific start, and very happy.
That's fantastic. And then it seems like you have an extremely strong foundation as far as your knowledge and experience in benefits in general.
Yes, I do. Obviously, being on the consulting side, I understand, the rise of voluntary benefits and their importance today. Employers, with all the bad news on the medical side, really like to round out that message with something very positive. And
right.
Voluntary benefits clearly convey that positive message, convey that parental, if you will, approach that employer really is looking out for their employees.
Right.
And, most notably, when you look at good quality voluntary benefits, you're getting 20, 25% participation, which in and of itself, justifies the employer's efforts on the administration side to do the payroll deductions, do the remittance, and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And then, how did you come up with this idea? You were seeing the trend, you've been hearing the news, so you noticed the need, and then were you just thinking to yourself, okay, well, I've got a solution to some of these problems here? How'd you come to this?
Well, Jelani, quite frankly, it wasn't that grandiose.
Okay.
I was sitting with a longtime friend, 25-year friend, who really concentrates his healthcare consulting business on groups under 100.
Okay.
And was having quite a difficult time growing that business, not only in the economy, where many employers of that size weren't even offering benefits, let alone changing their broker. Renewal increases were significant. Small groups were going out of business. They were being acquired, and he was really struggling. And we were just sitting at breakfast one day, as we did every 4 to 6 weeks, and I said, what you need is a network of accountants to refer you business. And the light bulb just kind of went off sitting there at this little diner, and I said, wait a minute. There's a network of attorneys called Prepaid Legal. Why not a network of accountants called Prepaid Tax? So I went home and I Googled it and I searched, and no one was doing it.
No
so
way.
I wrote a business plan, and then I happen to know 4 or 5 people in the investment banking world, shopped the business plan to them, so to speak, and Evergreen Advisors in Columbia, Maryland, was the only investment banking firm willing to put a package together, an investment package that would enable me to leave my employer and at least pay my bills. They certainly didn't give me, equality to my compensation as a consultant, but they gave me enough to pay my bills and allow me to walk out the door and begin the business. So that was really how it started.
Wow. So did you have experience putting together a business plan and entrepreneurial skills like this?
Jelani, I have my MBA from Johns Hopkins, and in the academic world, put together several business plans for the curriculum, what have you. But I can assure you that it's quite a bit different when you're doing it for real, and you have very astute investment banking people, looking at your work, and really it's the first indication. In my mind, is their impression of you comes from that business plan. So, I probably spent, 4 months, nights, weekends, doing nothing but writing that business plan and, polishing it to make sure that, that first impression that they had of me, was very solid. And, let people see it that I trusted, and have just a large group of very astute friends, and let them see my business plan and bounce the idea off them, and then had a non-disclosure agreement developed by an attorney friend, and took it to the investment banking people.
And what was that like? What was the experience as far as the emotions, the thoughts, and just the ride?
A wild ride, because you were educating people unfamiliar with benefits as to why this was going to be successful.
Interesting.
And what typically is known in the benefits world is the fact that medical premiums are going up 20% a year.
Right.
And that makes the headlines. That's what's out there. And trying to educate, very intelligent people, obviously, about a niche benefit and how the distribution channel works. And in Maryland, it's a bit more complex because there are 3 what are called third-party administrators that provide consolidated monthly billing to their employer clients. So you get one bill for medical, dental, vision, and you have kind of a hub of a wheel that you update the eligibility, and then they receive one check and pay out all the vendors. Well, having Capella be a spoke on that wheel was an integral part of our distribution channel. These TPAs really are what the exchanges are going to look like if healthcare reform is implemented in the bill fashion that's written. So educating these investment banking people as to the third-party administrator world and how this works, it was challenging, but they got it, and all 4 of the investment banking people or firms that I brought this to wanted to launch Capella, but as I said, only one was willing to provide compensation enough for me to walk out.
Right. Huh. Wow, that's very interesting. Very interesting. I bet that was a major learning experience as well.
Sure, it was, but I'll tell you, it was very, the right word, not shocking, but there was a real appetite for raising capital for a new program.
Oh, really?
With the stock market being, what it is, and the volatility, there was really a significant interest in learning about Capella and its newness, if you will, to the benefit space, and that helped a great deal because 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, when the economy was humming along, I'm not sure there would have been, that interest in something new and unique when
I see.
there was so much low-hanging fruit for, investment returns, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, it was just tremendous.
And wonderful. And join us for our next part of another fantastic interview with our great guest, with another amazing Atlanta business owner. In the next video.